Between the California Raisins and Spuds McKenzie. Those two,
Buds.
those two were the biggest thing when we were kids.
They were.
You remember Spuds
I
McKenzie?
remember Spuds McKenzie. I love Spuds McKenzie.
Derpy, you don't remember the California Raisins, but you remember the Spuds McKenzie?
When was that?
Around the same time
Oh
as the
my
California
lord!
Raisins. Good
Like,
morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 495 of the Two Dum Yinzers. I'm here with Mike and Derpy this morning. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm a little perplexed by Derpy's lack of pop culture after any time he was born or
I
before
know
he
Okay,
was
now
born.
now I
Before he was born, he
remember
has no
Spud
knowledge of
McKenzie.
anything
most of
before
my
he was
knowledge is
born.
things before I was born. Like after I was born and until now, I have very
Same
little
here.
knowledge.
Same
But
here.
prior to me being born, I ask me about the '60s, the '70s. I'll nail everything.
Yeah,
You know.
Derpy knows nothing. He's
Now I
the
remember the
complete
There
raisins.
you
opposite.
go. You remember the raisins, Derpy?
Yes,
But you don't remember Spuds McKenzie.
it's the dog, right?
Yes, it was the dog. It was the I don't know what was it, Bud Light or Budweiser. Or,
I
you know
can't
how
remember.
the beer companies are always using these animals and different things to promote. That's what Spuds McKenzie was. He was that.
Oh, good old Spuds McKenzie.
And my grandma, she used to work. You ever see that store in the middle of the malls that just sells weird shit like pipes and
Yeah.
incense burners? And my grandma worked there for the longest time, and like she would get these shirts, like beer shirts, Spuds, and I would wear them to school because I didn't know any better. But I did. I would always have Spuds McKenzie on or some kind of crazy shit like this.
You would do
Ah,
that.
I, Good morning, everybody. We are back. This is the Two Dumb Yinzers, 495 guys, just five short shows away from the big 500. Yes, this time next week, we will be hitting that milestone, providing one of us doesn't die in the meantime. But if that doesn't happen, then here we will be one day after the Super Bowl. And you know what? What a day that's going to be. It's going to be the first day of official off season for the Steelers. So that'll give us something a little extra to do while football is
mhm.
over. However, we will not cut our talking of the big game short because it is the big game. And you know what, I'm concerned, Mike, and I'm pretty convinced that within the next 2 years this game will be on a streaming channel and we will be
Yeah.
paying for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Just at this point, I can't see it not happening.
Oh
Everything is
yeah.
going that direction. There is too much money to be made on this Super Bowl by not doing this.
Yeah, you're right. And everything nowadays, you see everything is monetized. Everything is, getting every last dollar out of everything.
Yeah.
So why not have the biggest sport in America bleed the customer dry like everyone else does?
On one hand, I think it sucks, but on the other hand, I totally get it. If you're one of these companies and one of these businesses and you're making money, this is that next natural step. You got to do this. You're keeping up with the time in a way, and it sucks for us. But who's going to miss the Super Bowl, Mike? Somebody's going to pay out $6 to get this stupid streaming channel to watch the Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
Like I would too. And like I said before, I'm already subscribed to some of these streaming services, so it's no money out of my pocket. But people who only watch the Super Bowl, like that's the one game of the year that they watch, they're not a big fan. They're in for the whole pageantry of it, the pageantry of the Super Bowl, that whole cultural experience, because everyone talks about it the next day. That's gonna suck for them. Because if
What a
they don't,
whole
what if they don't have that service and they got to shell out that $6?
what a whole different world we're living in.
Yeah, yeah, like these
Just
streaming services were supposed to make everything easier. Now it's going back around to where it's easier to have cable.
if it wasn't, you're right, because if there wasn't so many of them,
Go
maybe
play.
maybe it might just be okay. But there's so many. If you don't have Paramount, then you have to get Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, then you have to get this.
Yeah.
And if one thing that you want to watch is on Paramount, and then the next game you want to watch is on Peacock, and then the next game you want to watch is on something. I mean, that's becoming more of a burden than anything. So I mean, those kind of things like that, I think suck bad. But again, this is the time that we live in, and I think that we ought to embrace it and say, you know what, this is where we're at. We could bitch about it, and we will bitch about it over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is where we are, and I don't think we should be surprised by this at all.
No, and it's going to
Mhm.
keep going that way until everyone decides that no, we're not going to do it. But there's going to be enough people that are going to go ahead and do it.
My argument is this: if you don't think that it's going to happen, good morning to Ron on the board, by the way. If you don't think that this is going to happen, look at your cell phone. Just 20 short years ago, every person over 30 years old says, I am not getting a cell phone. What do you need a cell phone for? Maybe if I have one, I'll have it in my car just in case there's an emergency. But
You're
what
right,
happened
man.
over time? Every single person got a cell phone. Everybody started teaching their mom. Mom found out how easy it was to use this. Now Pap needs it, use the GPS every time he drives up to get fish sandwiches on Friday. So it all works out. We don't win. Whoever's making the system and whoever's rolling the ball along there, who wins ultimately. So as I said, I mean, unless you could put together a strong, just a large body of people that are against it, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that this is where we are, guys. I think the next 4 years is going to yield some very strange things in our lives. I really do.
Oh yeah, it like I said, everything's going to pay for play anymore. I remember, it used to be pay-per-view was a special thing. Now everything is pay-per-view. And it's just cheaper now.
And look who looks like the genius, Vince McMahon, somebody who's been charging people from the beginning for these pay-per-view events. He looks like a fucking genius. When everybody else was stupidly putting stuff out for free, there he was, making a killing. So
charging it, and then he's the one started the WWE network. He saw the way the landscape of the business was going, of buying up all the libraries and charging people to watch all the old stuff. Now, if you want to watch any of your old shows, you have to pay these streaming services to go out and find all the old episodes of the shows that you watch, and you have to hope they don't cancel them now or lock them behind a vault like Disney does. So, for sick as a person as we're finding out that he was a visionary genius. He saw the way the landscape was going, and everyone's following suit.
If you ever want to know what's coming next, just look what look what the billionaires are doing. Look what Vince McMahon was doing. Look what Elon Musk was doing. Look at because these people make the world spin. I don't like it as much as you don't like it, but you know what? At the end of the day, their money and their power ultimately are what dictate and control the way things go in our everyday lives. So, like I said, I mean, people always say follow the money. Follow the billionaires. Watch what they're doing, because I promise you, they're going to get their way. That's just the way that it is, and that's that.
Richer get rich.
Yeah, and that's never going to change. That's never going to change. That'll never, from the beginning of time, if you was the people with all the rupees and all the, those were the people that had the power, that they called the way things went. Things aren't going to change, and that's you might get you might be able to dent the tank a little bit, but you're never going to completely so that's that, Mike. Also coming up new, possibly in the NFL. I know you've talked about this many a times, actually. There's talk about them adopting the XFL's kickoff rule in the NFL. Mike, you were a fan of this.
I was a fan of it because right now, the way the kickoffs are in the NFL, there are no more kickoff returns. You've more or less taken out people like Devin Hester, who were one of the greatest kick returners of all time, if not the best. You're taking that part out of the game. At least in the XFL and the USFL, they had it to where it was safer and still as exciting. You lined up 5 yards away from each other. You kick it off, and you still had the big returns. You still had the big hits on the return, and it didn't take away that element of the game. Whereas now it's few and far between where you see these good returns, because every kicker is so good now they can boot it through the uprights from the kickoff. So
yeah,
I'm in favor of it. It gets more action into the game. So anything that's more action and more big plays, I'm all for.
That's why I'm there too. I want to see more action on kickoffs. I hate what the kickoffs have became. You just took that whole element out of the game, and you know what? I understand what you're saying the purpose is, but at the end of the day, you still took an element out of the game of football. And somewhere I think you have to make up for that.
They overcorrected, because you take away the wedge formation. Okay, that was destroying people, but take that part away, keep everything else the same. But they overcorrected by moving the kickoff tee further, or closer.
That's debatable. Ron on the board says it's our money. You don't have to give it to them. I think ultimately at the end, as long as it says United States of America on that green bill, I think that it all ends up going back to them some way, somehow. Whether if it's not through taxing, because of this, you buy this, you spend your money on that, and then you get that taxed, and then whoever taxed you, they have to pay taxes, and whoever taxed them, they have to pay taxes. I think ultimately, I think ultimately we lose the battle. We're given most people, for most part, they have just enough money to get by. But again, that's a whole different conversation for another day. I think a lot could be said about that, to be honest. But guys, I did learn this over the weekend. I learned that the three toughest schedules next season in the NFL are: one, the Cleveland Browns schedule; two, the Baltimore Ravens schedule; and three, the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule. These three AFC North, teams have the three strongest, toughest schedules in the NFL next year. That could change as the season goes on. You see, we had a weak schedule, and then about halfway through the season, we had one of the toughest schedules. So, you don't want to hang too much on that. But as of right now, us, the Browns, and the Ravens all have the three toughest schedules going into next season.
Once again, the NFL trying to hold the AFC North down. I don't want to see the Steelers and Ravens go too far.
Yeah.
It's just funny,
You know who belongs in our division? Aliquippa. Aliquippa
yeah.
It could be us three, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns, and then Aliquippa, and they could all hold us down because.
And then Aliquippa would still be punished somehow. They would find a way to make it hard.
Yet they'd still
Aliquippa would have to play all 32 or all 31 other teams. They would have to play.
Yet they would still win the division every year. All right, guys, here we go. We talked about the Oregon Center last week. The Steelers were interested in down at the Senior Bowl, paid a lot of attention. Also, another center the Steelers are high on is this Zack Frazier, three-time All Big 12 center out of West Virginia. Mike, do you have any information on Zack Frazier?
Oh yeah, he's rising up draft boards. Like you said, but three-time All Big East center. He comes from the wrestling background. So he is, oh God, watching him in pass blocking drills too, along with the center from Oregon, his lower body, you can tell he's a trained wrestler. He pivots.
He looks like a sumo wrestler with his belly.
Yeah, he's good. So like if you don't get JPJ and you get Frazier, there's not much of a drop off there. Right now, he's sitting in like that second round range where we pick in our second pick. Like he could be picked in that range. So if we miss out on JPJ in the first round, don't fret because Frazier could be sitting there in the second and snag him up. I think he might be the guy because you go first round, you can get your corner opposite Joey, you get your tackle opposite Broderick Jones, and then second round, maybe even have to trade up, snag Frazier, and you short up one of the three positions that you need. I think this kid's going to be I think he's going to be a damn good center.
As I was watching this, sorry excuse for an All-Pro game yesterday that the NFL is doing, we'll get more into it briefly. I was seeing across the bottom of the screen that Adam Schefter and another guy, I can't think of who it was, they had their mock drafts already. And Adam Schefter had us taking Mims out of Georgia.
I like that too.
And the other guy had us taking that cornerback out of Toledo in the first round.
Both wouldn't be bad picks.
You think a Toledo player in the first round is a good pick?
You think a player from Miami of Ohio in the first round is a good pick?
Not usually. However,
this guy was down in the Senior Bowl, which usually helps these guys propel them up into the first round and really expose their talent. He was shutting down some really good receivers down there. He was locking up in one-on-one drills, shutting people down. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Sometimes you can have a reason why you didn't make it to a bigger school. Maybe he was a late developer, maybe, an academic issue or something. But if you can play, you can play.
All right. You see guys coming out of these top schools and top talent and getting a guy out of Toledo. It just sounds strange. Again, I could be wrong and this guy could be amazing and we could be happy with him for years to come, but to me it seems odd, and I think that will raise a lot of eyebrows when it does come around if that's the case. However, you do have the Mims, you have these centers, bunch of other talks, so the chances that this guy even comes here, we don't know, and who knows, being out of Toledo, maybe that just might bump him back to the second round or bump him back a little further so we could get him and swipe him up whenever we get a chance. Just something that definitely caught my eye. Let's see what else, guys. PFF. Check this out, Mike. If you didn't hate PFF enough,
I can't wait for this.
If you didn't hate PFF enough, this is going to really do you. And I think PFF makes a stunning selection for the Steelers' most improved player. PFF makes a stunning selection for the Steelers' most improved player. Does anybody want to take a stab at who that might be?
Dan Moore.
Dan Moore. Derpy, what do you think?
I did see this, but I forget the player's name.
Derpy.
Armon Watts, guys. Armon
That's what it
Watts
was.
is who the PFF says was the most improved player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there you go, guys. PFF.
Miles Garrett, everybody.
So our backup defensive end who didn't flash negatively, didn't flash positively, but was our most improved. He was he came in there, he was a steady backup, but most improved from last year to this year. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I couldn't believe when I seen it. I thought at this point
I saw that too, and I was so dumbfounded. I totally forgot about it.
I thought if this is what PFF, come on, this is the shit that they're peddling.
Yeah. And it sucks too because their deep analytic stuff that I'm subscribed to them because I like some of their deeper stats are really good. But the people that they have grading their players are just they don't know what they're talking about.
It makes you wonder.
It's like I want to go down there and get a job.
I'll watch. Right?
Yeah, I'll
You'll
grade,
blind them.
Yeah, I'll blindly grade
bonus.
the New York Jets just looking off the stat sheets because that feels like what they do a lot of this time. Because you have instant grades and analysis.
Talk out of my ass for 8 hours a day. I would happily do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like Armon Watts for like people that really watch the D line. They like him. He's a solid backup, but most improved. Get out of here.
Yeah.
If you want to say from the beginning of the season to the end, you could take so many people. You can like all the rookies that most improved.
I think our rookies were solid, man. I think it was.
Yeah.
I can't wait till the draft this year. I can't wait to see what we're gonna get. Of course.
Do you think we get a new defensive tackle as well?
I think that this is where this Mims comes into play. Of course, out of Georgia, somebody that I think it's a possibility. It just depends on what they want to do in the first round.
I think for a D tackle, they're set with Keanu Benton. They like him there, but they got to find people to replace Ogunjobi and Cam Hayward.
That's what I mean.
Those two have made huge drop offs from last year.
Cam's got to go. Cam has got to go. $16 million, guys, could be cleared up if we cut him. There's not a part in my body, not a single bone in my body that would have a problem with Cam Hayward being let go. Let's say he ends up somewhere like Chicago and he does okay, fine. I mean, who cares? This guy, he's just sucking up so much money at this point, and he's not willing to negotiate and reconstruct his contract to make things better for the team. If Cam Hayward would get cut, I would have zero problem. Mike, do you see this as even being a possibility?
No, I think they're not going to let Cam Hayward go. Worst case scenario, they'll restructure his contract, add years onto it, but they'll end up making it easier to cut him down the road, or when he retires, it's not that bad of a cap hit. So I think that's what's going to happen. They'll restructure to free up cap space this year. But I think he should go. I saw online someone's like, "Oh, he's the heart and soul of this defense." Joey Porter was a heart and soul of a defense. Cam Hayward's not. You don't see him out there pregame firing guys up. You see TJ Watt out. You see TJ Watt out there leading the defense
6 years ago.
But maybe that speaks volume about why our defense is bad if he's the heart and soul.
After 2017, Cam Hayward has not been a good player, and so I get rid of him. Get rid of him. He's been every time he's been in the playoffs, the team has given up 35 points a game. So
lack of big plays and shutdowning in the playoffs. Yes, he is the heart and soul of that particular defense because that was what the Steelers defense did. Yeah. And when they needed to win. I say we got to move on from this guy. It's just too much money.
Yeah.
You could get somebody who's very talented, who's going to make plays for you on the defensive line, who's going to cost you a lot less money than he is.
Yeah.
He's a big presence in the middle. Yes, that's what we're paying for. But you know what? It's just not worth it, Mike. If we would have had an amazing defensive season and we would have shut everybody down and it would have been this run stop and Cam Hayward would have been in the middle, just like Aaron Donald is, that's a whole different argument. The fact of the matter is he is night and day from Aaron Donald at this point in his career. You can't continue to give this guy $16 million is way too much money to keep playing around with Cam Hayward.
Yeah, he needs to go. There used to be a time like in Pittsburgh, stars at the end of the career, we'd let him go, whether it be the Pirates obviously, but like the Penguins and Steelers. Like, okay, you reached your expiration date here. You're gone. You had a great career here. You don't have that much time left. We're going to move on. Now both organizations and the whole town wants to keep everyone in town. and for the detriment of the team because I like this player. No, you got to let people go. We let Joey Porter go. We let Levon Kirkland go back in the day. Rod Woodson left. He's a Hall of Famer. You got to let people go so you can rebuild it, and move on.
And if they find themselves after they leave and they say, you know what, maybe, just maybe I'll pick it up a little bit because my career's coming to an end. And I'd like to go out, on a bigger, whiter horse than what I'm going out on. Maybe he might go somewhere and have a decent season. And I'm all, it's good. Go ahead, dude. I'm fine with that. If he goes elsewhere and he succeeds a season and makes, the people like us sound stupid because we're saying he should have been gone, I'm fine with that. He's just sucking up way too much money at this point in time. And if we're ready to take that turn that next page and get ready to become a team with getting ready to go to the playoffs, you have a new offensive coordinator, you have new things going on. We have a draft coming up. I just think I think that this is the time. You don't want him to overstay his welcome, which I think he already did.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think it's time to let Cam go.
I do too. I know it's a very unpopular opinion in this town because
it's like trying to say, look, we're going to kick Charlie Batch out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't say like a bad word about him. My God, you say one bad thing about him on Twitter. Look out, man. You thought you just like kicked a baby.
Yeah.
You might have a better chance of kicking a baby and getting away with it than making fun of Cam Hayward. But no, he needs to go. Like Ron's saying too. His prime is gone. His prime has been over for a long time.
Absolutely.
He once was one of my favorite players. I used to love Cam Hayward
when he was productive and doing things. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now you got to move on.
How could you not like the guy?
Yeah.
Hey, Mikey.
All right. Also,
what the?
Hey, Mikey.
Le'Veon Bell announces he's ready to make a comeback to the NFL. However, he only is willing to play for one team, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike, he shows up at the end of the year last year trying to get in the good graces of Coach Tomlin and the Steelers team. He says he's getting ready to hit the workout trail hard. Everyone knows the guy's a hard worker. He's a physical beast. However, is there any possibility, especially with what's going on in this team moving forward, again, turning that new leaf, new offensive coordinator, we're ready to change the culture here in Pittsburgh, get back to winning football. Any chance in the world, Mike, that Le'Veon Bell lands on the Pittsburgh Steeler roster at all?
I could see being that how many guys did they send to the training camp? Like 1,000?
Maybe a training camp.
Yeah, I can see him being that last guy on the roster coming in.
Fucked around. He already blew his chance. He had a great opportunity here.
They were nickeling and diming him. They were paying Alejandro Turnstile Villanueva.
You think of this though, Mike. I was looking at the draft, the mock draft going across the bottom of the screen yesterday, and I thought to myself, wow, how many people continue to come up every single year to the NFL from college? And you know what? And the thing is, the wiggle room for a lot of players is very, very tiny wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, I thought of Le'Veon Bell, and you know what? If you don't play by the rules and you don't, you kind of fall out of line, there's going to be somebody that comes up right behind you, just as young, just as fast, just as talented. So it's almost like you got to kind of watch yourself. I mean, yeah, they nickeled and dimed him, but on the other hand, they're the ones making the decisions and the calls. So, that kind of falls in that category for me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but for me, I felt the Steelers really did screw him over. That offensive line that he ran behind was terrible. That's why he changed his running style, and he made all those guys money, and then they don't want to reward him when he was really the offense ran through him, Ben and Bell, and you don't want to reward him. I thought it was I just didn't like the way they handled it, and he made the mistake of sitting out a year. You don't want to do that as a football player because you see what happens anytime people who sit out a year. If it's through injury, they seem to come back better than when you sitting out for a reason like this, and then that really hurt him. But you know what? He made the choice. I bring him back on hey, come back, play a couple preseason games, and then officially retire from the NFL, go out as a Steeler.
Maybe something like that. I could.
Yeah, that's what I would do because he never really badmouthed the team. So he played through a ton of injuries on this team. And
don't get me wrong, I totally respect the guy and what he did when he was here. But again, if you look at reality and you look at the hundreds of players that come up every year, there's only 53 players on a roster.
Yeah.
You really got to, at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a very important, rich business. And, you got to kind of play within the rules because if not, that dream could very soon come crashing to the ground if you don't play by the rules. But Mike, I agree and I disagree. But you know what? Let's move on. P, good morning on the board. Always great seeing you, sir. Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's a name that popped up over the weekend that I seen for a possibility of landing on the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching staff. Of course, all the head coaching jobs around the league are filled. Mike Vrabel now, who's looking for work. Any chance he lands on the North Shore this upcoming season?
Oh, let's see. Vrabel's apparently coming. Mike Munchak's coming out of retirement. Who else is like every coach who hasn't had a job yet is going to come here now. So,
with connections. I mean, there are connections. Mike Vrabel did have did play here. He's had a semi-successful run in Tennessee.
Yeah. He took him to the AFC Championship. I can see it, but I don't know what he would be. Would he be like a linebacker coach?
Because he was a linebacker.
Yeah, I can see him being something along those lines. I wouldn't be opposed to it because this team does need to expand their coaching staff. Yeah, they have one of the smallest coaching staffs in the NFL. So, and he has a lot of knowledge. Bring him on.
The thing is,
try and bring Mike Munchak back.
The thing is, if he wants to work and he needs work, and we need that position, I don't see any problems. And you know what? Next year, if a coordinator position or a head coach pops up, you could go ahead and go there.
Yeah,
but
kind of like Brian Flores did. He came in as just a defensive assistant and linebacker coach, and partly that into a successful job up in Minnesota. So I can see Vrabel doing something like that, or even just hey, I'm going to take a year off because how many coaching vacancies are going to happen next year. Some of these coaches that were hired now will be fired next year.
Coaching is so much easier to get back into after taking a year out than a player is.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And once you're in that coaching inner circle, you're in it forever. You can get a job doing anything. So it would be smart for him to.
Hey, Mikey.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Is that your cue now for getting me to stop talking?
No, hold on. I have another one for that. Hold on. This is my cue to get you to stop talking.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Hump day. Because I have that reaction. It's a Pavlovian response. That's not fair.
Also, guys, Cliff Kingsbury is the new Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Him along with Dallas, Joe Witt from Dallas, I believe Dallas. He's hired on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I'm particularly sure. Is he a defensive coordinator?
I can't remember. I know they brought a lot of people over from Dallas.
So they did. They brought some people and they did make their hire. Their new offensive coordinator is Cliff Kingsbury, somebody that we've slung this name around a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have Zach Robinson down in Atlanta. You have Cliff Kingsbury in Washington. And a lot of people are penning in, Mike. They're penning in Clint Kubiak for the Saints offensive coordinator job after the San Francisco 49ers are done playing football in a week. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Saints, you think?
Probably. Of course, I don't know the way some of these hires are going on. I could see him going back to that staff because Cliff Kingsbury was supposed to sign with the Raiders, and then last minute bails on that job, and then gets the offer from where the Commanders. Excuse me. Yeah. So it's just this offseason for offensive coordinators has been kind of weird. Weird carousel. Eric Bieniemy is still out there.
Yeah. Very surprised.
He's been linked to Pittsburgh too as maybe the passing game coordinator.
Ron, I believe Caleb is going to be a bust as well. I don't see it with him. I don't see it with with Penix Jr. I don't see it with these guys are good. Don't get me wrong. The two guys I mentioned, Drake May, and as I'm watching these mock drafts yesterday, might go across the bottom of the screen. These are your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 picks. It's Caleb Williams. It's Drake May. It's the guy from LSU, Daniels. So I mean, these are your 5. These 5 guys aren't jumping off the paper at me when I look at this draft. You know what? A couple of these guys might make a pretty good impact in the NFL. However, nobody really stands out to me.
No,
but those are the guys that people are talking about. Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously a receiver out of Ohio State, is another name being highly talked about. But those quarterbacks, those 4, even Bo Nix.
Yeah. I've seen him in like the late first round. So more quarterbacks that go above our pick, the better, because that's just going to push so many
non-quarterbacks to us that we need.
Yep. Yeah, that's Norv Turner. That's right, Pete. Yeah, once he was in, that guy never got out. It's like the mafia. Once you're in, you're in.
You're until you die.
You are.
Mike, I gotta ask you, let's get into some Super Bowl talk. If the Chiefs win this coming Sunday over the San Francisco 49ers, which is a big if. I mean, San Francisco's a really good team.
Oh, yeah.
If the Chiefs win, is this a dynasty?
Yes. That's what, 3 Super Bowls in 6 years, something like that, since they won their first one. Yeah, that's a dynasty.
So are they the team of this decade, as the 49ers were of the 80s, as the Steelers were of the 70s, as the Cowboys were of the 90s? The Chiefs would be the team of the 2020s. Of course, everything in between was the Patriots. They had 2 decades. But you think that here we are in 2024, that this could be the team of the 2020s, Mike?
Yeah, because right now they are the measuring stick for everyone. They're right now they're 2-1 in Super Bowls. They win this one, they're 3-4, or 3-1 their Super Bowl record. So yeah, they are the team to beat. Everyone's trying to beat them. They only lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So yeah, they are the team of this decade. Yep, they do. They have that guy, and as long as you have that guy, you're gonna find a way to win. And
absolutely,
3 Super Bowls, 6 years. Yeah, you're a dynasty.
When we had that guy, we found ways to win quite often. I can't express enough, guys, the importance of going out and getting that guy. It all means possible. If you really want to win, you go out, you gamble, you get that guy, because that's what it takes to win in this league. Everybody's seen, Mike, the Brock Purdy, the little bit of a, I don't know, grudge is the word, a little head-to-head with Cam Newton over the weekend. Cam Newton
I did not see this.
Cam Newton called Brock Purdy the 10th best guy on that team, on that offense. And Brock Purdy says, in response to Cam Newton, he says, well, there's well over 90 quarterbacks employed in the league during the season, and you're not one of them. So taking a stab back at Cam, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. Well, it's all like, I watched clips of the Cam Newton when he was talking about Brock Purdy. He wasn't saying, oh, he's a bad player. He said, hey, he's a game manager. He's not a game changer right now. And that doesn't mean he can't win games. But he's like, you look at that offense, he's like, I think there are 9 players better than him on there. So it's not like I was watching the interview.
I want to know who he's better than. I want to know the last guy who's
I know, right? I want to find that
saying,
guy.
You know?
But I see what Cam was saying, and I also see what what's his name, Purdy was saying too.
Yeah.
A nice little clap back there. That was a good shot. But don't forget though, Cam was also an MVP of this league.
As Ron's mentioning on the board, he must be reading my mind. We are going to get into just briefly. Patrick Mahomes Sr. was arrested for his 3rd DUI over the weekend in Texas.
Chiefs confirmed.
Way to keep things cool for your son's biggest moment.
Yeah,
your son. It's like
keep it together, Dad.
Yeah. So
it's
Ron says he's facing 10 years. I mean, 3 DUIs. That's serious.
Man. Yeah, that is serious. You know what? Your son can afford you a good lawyer. Get that. Unless you were so over the limit, they can't plead that down.
Did you see his house? They showed Patrick Mahomes' house from above. He has his own football field in the yard. He has this house literally has its own zip code. I shit you not, man. It's really amazing.
Yeah, if you're gonna go out and drink, get yourself a DD, get yourself an Uber, a Lyft, or something.
Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes Sr. is living in the jail for the next 10 years.
Oh,
that
could have
sucks.
had it all.
Yeah.
What's that, Derpy?
They could have had it all.
Yeah, and I'm sure he does. I'm sure he lives a pretty good life. I mean, but three DUIs, that's rough.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That is of course I know people around like my area that have been like arrested for 7, 8 DUIs, and they're walking scot-free and still out there drinking.
I bet you their kids ain't millionaires.
Yeah, and they're driving around on suspended licenses and stuff, and everyone knows about it, but that's okay for them.
Yeah.
But
let me get into this.
What are we getting into?
Let me get into this first.
All right.
All right. So February 8th, Thursday, guys, is going to be the awards ceremony where all the awards in the NFL are going to be handed out. Your player, your Walter Payton Man of the Year, your MVP, your Coach of the Year, your Offensive Player of the Year, the whole way down the list this Thursday. But on over the weekend, Mike, more than 30 CBS Sports NFL experts voted by the likes of Bill Cowher, Bryant McFadden, and J.J. Watt. They all voted in an anonymous vote. And Mike, here is how it played out.
All right.
Here we are, just 3 days before the awards. This is how the experts voted over the weekend. All right, so for the MVP, 32 people picked every award.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson ended up winning with 30 votes. Josh Allen and Brock Purdy both had 1 for MVP. Lamar Jackson, 30 votes for MVP. Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, 1.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense based on regular season. Yeah.
Offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey, 26 votes. Tyreek Hill, 5 votes.
I thought Tyreek would have got more, but I can see that as well.
I don't see Christian McCaffrey not winning this. I just do.
Yeah.
It really, the season really highlighted his what he does.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if he does not win that award. But offensive player of the year by these 32 people that voted from CBS, 26 votes for McCaffrey, 5 for Tyreek Hill. Defensive player of the year played out like this, guys. TJ Watt, 17. Myles Garrett, 8. Micah Parsons, 5. Maxwell Crosby, 1. And Roquan Smith, 1, putting TJ Watt as your defensive player of the year by these so-called experts.
And that's like a lot of other people that we talked about too. It's nice to see a middle linebacker in there instead of a D end or an outside linebacker.
I think it's ridiculous. It's always that D end outside linebacker. That's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The cornerbacks, D tackles, they affect the game.
They do nothing.
But everyone just wants to look at sacks.
Guys,
sacks is a sexy number, but
you can't. That makes you the player of the year. By
it's like being the home run king in baseball.
Right.
Want to automatically.
You're the MVP because you hit more home runs.
No, there's more to it than that.
Like Bobby Wagner gets close to 200 tackles every year. This guy. I mean, that's a freakish number. But anyway, let's move on. Coach of the year broke down like this in this voting from the CBS Sports experts. D'Amico Ryans with 13 votes. Kevin Stefanski with 11 votes. Dan Campbell with 4 votes.
Really?
Yes. Huh. I don't disagree with the D'Amico Ryans. I'm a D'Amico Ryans fan. I bid into it. I'm on board with what the Texans got going on. Stefanski, I don't see.
No, because that team has been talked about for years as being this is their year. The Browns won the offseason. The Browns won the offseason. Browns won the offseason for 3 years in a row. And your coach of the year, no. Not like the Texans and
they suck.
Yeah, like Detroit, they've been a slow build for years. No one's talked about them as winning the offseason.
When you
they're going to make that jump
after 30 seasons, have a good year. Can you really? I don't know. I'm not.
I think like Campbell and D'Amico Ryan should be 1, 2 in any order. Close your eyes, throw it at the dartboard, pick one of those two. I don't think you can go wrong.
Next on the list, offensive rookie of the year, guys.
This can be. We know who it's going to be.
That's going to be a hard choice.
Offensive rookie of the year. 2 players were involved. CJ Stroud had 28 votes, and four votes goes to Puka Nacua.
Poor Puka. That's one of the greatest seasons ever. And
it is.
But you know what? It's a quarterback driven league, and hey, when you're the second pick overall, that means you went to a really, really bad team and you took them to the playoffs. I can understand.
Which he did.
I can understand it.
Absolutely. Guys, defensive rookie of the year. According to this list, Will Anderson Jr. with 15 votes. Jalen Carter with 9. Kobe Turner, the defensive tackle from the Rams, he has 5. Vaughn Witherspoon had 2, and Branch has 1. So they're saying that Will Anderson Jr. will more than likely win the defensive rookie of the year award.
He deserves it.
He does. Turner had a pretty good year too up on the inside. I think he had like 9 or 10 sacks as well.
Yeah.
So
everybody certainly deserved it.
Yeah, everyone on that list was really good. But those two were the best.
And finally, guys, from what was voted on, I don't have anything for Walter Payton, anything like this, any assistant coach of the year. This is what we have to work with. Our comeback player of the year guys, apparently it must be harder to breathe life back into the Browns than a human being because according to this vote, Joe Flacco has 13 votes for comeback player of the year. DeMar Hamlin has 12. To breathe life into the Browns is more difficult than to breathe life into a human being. Flacco 13, Hamlin 12, Baker Mayfield 6, and they're saying that Joe Flacco is being projected to be the guy to win comeback player of the year.
Well, Browns is the Browns, so people see people brought back to life all the time.
Yeah. You never see the Browns.
Not many people are able to make the Browns back to life.
How many people can say that?
So
there was a Pro Bowl event over the weekend.
It sucked.
I have mixed feelings. I like having it on my TV because I like football, and I just like having football on.
Mm-hmm.
It works for me. It's a comfort thing. But on the other hand, it's really kind of turning into this NBA show kind of thing. It has very little to do about football. You got guys playing 7-on-7. So if you have a guard or a tackle who had a great season, they're not actually being rewarded by going and getting. They get to go hang out in Orlando, play along with all these other little games. I mean, they're playing, Madden. They also have yesterday they had the gridiron gauntlet, the tug of war, move the chains, and 7-on-7 flag football, which I found there was a lot that was entertaining. But again, at the end of the day, it's a really diluted version of the NFL and what you get. I think for any other reason, this is more for the kids.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I just loved All-Stars. When you get older, you kind of grow away from that with home run contests and slam dunk contests. And this is something you really look forward to as a kid. These are your idols. And you want to kind of get to see them get out there and do it one last time on an all-pro team with everybody else that's the best in the league, playing at the same time. Mike, couple notable things. Puka Nacua beats out Joku. They had the best catch category.
And
Nacua was surfing. Somebody was pulling him on one of them jet skis, and he jumped and he caught the ball while he was doing this. Good morning, Ralph. Also, Njoku does this thing where he swings out in the middle of the water and he flips through the air, and his catch was to catch the ball and then hit the water, which he was not able to do all three times. He failed. The ball popped out as soon as he hit the water. Got to account for that because that's going to be pressure pushing that up. He was not able to make the catch. Puka Nacua did win, Mike. He won the best catch award.
So he has that going for him. He's probably not going to win offensive rookie of the year, but he does have the best catch.
Absolutely. Also,
everything.
Go ahead, Derby. I'm sorry.
At least it counts.
Derpy.
There you go.
Derpy.
All right. So also, guys, in this this All-Star event over the weekend. Now, this is 2 years in a row. The NFC pulls off the win. They win the flag football game by a score of 64-59, in which Baker Mayfield was the MVP of. But that was also enough to give them the edge in total points because they also dominated in all the events. Yeah. So the NFC does win, Mike, 2 years in a row.
And they won more money too. Each player got what, $88K, and the AFC only got $44K.
Yeah,
I didn't know we were playing basketball with that score.
Yeah, it was it was flag football. I can tell you that.
I'll tell you what, though, CJ Stroud had that, even though it was flag football, he had that nice little scramble and that throw off his back foot on the dime. That was nice to see.
It's like
it was like the big high. That was the big highlight of the weekend.
50 yards. You got flags. There's 7 guys on the field. It's like I said, it's such a shell of what the NFL is.
But I'm telling you what, though, if I was a kid, I would be eating that.
It is fun for the kids.
It is fun for the kids.
You know what? F them kids.
Also, Mike, we will talk. They should run on the board, so they should rename it the Pussy Bowl. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Also, Mike, as far as All-Star things that went on over the weekend, the NHL held their All-Star game and events, skill challenges, things like this. Sidney Crosby was on Team McKinnon. Now they do this thing now where they have, the broken down teams and it's 3-on-3 and all, everything. So Crosby's team, the Team McKinnon,
I don't
They
want to
got-
talk about it.
They got bounced early. The first game they got bounced 4-3.
That's a veteran move right there. You show up, get bounced in the first game, then you just get to chill the rest of the weekend.
Crosby had 2 assists in his game. He had 3 shots on goal. But ultimately, Team McKinnon didn't even get to the finals. Team McDavid loses to Team Matthews 7-4.
See, once again, dude, oh my God, I forgot his name already. That's how unforgettable this generational talent is supposed to be. All he does is lose. Loses in the playoffs, loses in the All-Star game.
Yeah. So that's done. Now all the All-Stars done. Penguins back in action tomorrow. They host the Jets at 7:00 p.m. They'll be back in action.
Did you see the
Feels like they've
two,
been gone off a month.
Yeah, did you see the 2 bits of drama from the All-Star weekend?
I did not.
No.
Nikita Kucherov slow skating through all of the drills that he was in for the competition, being booed out of the arena in Toronto. And then Sidney Crosby didn't show up for the first night for their little draft party.
Yeah.
He spent it in Montana skating on an outdoor rink with a bunch of youth kids, and some reporter that has ties to the Flyers was saying how much of a hole Crosby is and how he should be being, why isn't he getting grief for this? And all Sidney Crosby's done his entire career is do what's best for the NHL, and they never protect him. So yeah, you got Nikita Kucherov, just
Of course, the Flyer is going to complain about.
Yeah.
doing nothing in the skills competitions, making a joke of it, and then you got Crosby being criticized by some idiot because he went and spent time with youth hockey players instead of being there for the first night.
Yeah. I have no
problem. That was my big takeaways from the thing. Like, Crosby did it right. Just avoid the first night, hang out with some kids, and then show up for the event and get in and get out early.
The Pitt basketball team, they notched their 300th win at the Pete on Saturday. They took on Notre Dame. So they beat Notre Dame. They get the 300th win at the Pete. They did win 70-60 over Notre Dame. Nice event. They were celebrating a couple older teams. I believe the team from 09 and the team from 74, if I'm not mistaken. Good night for the Pitt Panthers, Mike. 70-60 over Notre Dame. 300th win at the Pete.
Well done, but the only Pitt team I like is the basketball team. So I'm well done.
It was cool to see Dwan Blair.
Yeah.
All the guys were there,
Yeah. Like when they're good and that place is rocking, that's one of the best environments for
It really
sports.
is.
Not just basketball, but for sports.
Yeah, for sure, man. I know that everybody's just waiting to get to this news. Taylor Swift kicks ass at the Grammys last night. She got like 100 awards. She broke the record for the most wins for a new album. And also she announces her new album last night at the Grammys. She has a new album. I thought she was going to wait till the Super Bowl or something.
Me too.
She did it. But you know what? This is her Super Bowl. The Grammys.
This is and she's not letting it take away from the Super Bowl and stuff. Well, this is well done by T Swifty.
Also, fellas,
I have another piece of Grammy news.
Yeah.
You see the one guy who won 3 Grammys and then was arrested?
Yeah, Killer Mike.
Yeah, he for a misdemeanor.
Yeah, Killer Mike. He swept the hip hop awards at the Grammys. He walks away and he gets what did he get in trouble for, Mike?
It was some kind of misdemeanor. They won't say what it's for. So that means it was probably for something inconsequential that you wouldn't be arrested for at this. But hey, it was at the Grammys and they had to make a big show. And I saw that. I'm like, oh, did he something go down? Mike. Nothing happened there. It was something unrelated to the Grammys. They figured, what, we're gonna, make the spotlight on us.
Also, all the controversy about Taylor Swift. Somebody brings up a good point over the weekend. Why was Jessica Simpson not dragged through the mud? I think that was because they weren't winning. She made appearances, but you know what? People didn't care about the Cowboys because they haven't won. And if you're the Chiefs and you're winning Super Bowls every year, you're under the microscope. And I think that's why it's more annoying with Taylor Swift than Jessica Simpson.
But no, it was. She was called. People were saying she's ruining Tony Romo. She's making him, ruining the Cowboys. She went through the mud too, and they were calling her what, fat too. This fat cow is ruining the Cowboys.
See, I didn't have no problem with her. I had no problem with Jessica
Neither did
Simpson.
I. I didn't then and now.
Maybe because I was over
Ron,
in the
we are-
NFC and it was the Cowboys and it was, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't annoyed with her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm annoyed with Napoleon Dynamite. I mean,
Napoleon.
Taylor Swift, of course. You know what I would like to see though for a halftime show? I'd like to see crazy ass Miley Cyrus come out of nowhere, like in the wrestling with a chair, swinging a chair around and beat the shit out of Taylor Swift. That for me would make a entertaining Taylor Swift appearance. Derpy, Miley Cyrus attacking Taylor Swift. Is that a good halftime show for you?
I'm gonna buy a ticket now.
That's right. Derpy is the big Taylor Swift fan. I always forget that. I always forget.
I'm gonna buy a ticket now for it.
I would like to see.
Yeah.
I would like to see.
Derpy.
I would like to see Miley Cyrus do it like one of these wrestling surprises. Oh my God, it's Miley Cyrus, and she comes running in with the chair and all. No, okay. Yes.
Coming in off the top rope.
Yes. Oh, JR.
Yeah.
My God.
Oh,
Here's Miley
JR is
Cyrus.
recovering from some medical issues I saw. Yeah, like some type of cancer. Poor JR.
Yeah, I like JR.
Yeah. Ron,
Mike, why
thanks
don't
for the
you-
donation, Ron.
We'll get to Ron in just a second. I do
Yeah.
want to Mike, why don't you go tell everybody about the website?
The2dumyinzers.com. Over there, we got the merch store. We got the blog. We got all of our socials on there. Get ready. I think next week is blog's gonna be more. I'm gonna be more active on there, especially for the stuff coming up in the NFL off season, especially for the draft and rumors and stuff like that. So looking for 3 days a week over there on the blog.
There you go. Oh, this would be a perfect time. This would be a perfect time for me to queue up one of your new
It would be, but now you don't have it queued up.
here. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Oh, you're killing me. Do I need to keep talking so it works for the
No, I
effect?
need you to shut up.
Well, I need a sound effect for that one.
Mike.
There you go.
Oh,
So
God. Oh, great. Now I'm gonna have Vince McMahon yelling at
I
me.
do. I got about 5 of them here. Yes,
Just the
Ralph.
start of it, Mike.
The slopper nickel. Yes, I that's what I like to see. Crazy ass Miley come running in. I don't know. Something about that breeds entertainment to me.
Her coming in on a wrecking ball.
Yeah, on a wrecking ball.
By God, King, that's Miley Cyrus's music.
And King would be like, look at the puppies. You know how he used to do that whole deal and the whole thing. So anyway, we do want to say thank you to Ron. Thank you very much. Mike was in over the weekend, and we have a couple options. And I gotta say, I'm not really thrilled with the options that we have for our taking calls. We are. It's in the works. It is in the works. We tried a few things, and a few things that we were going to try just by going through Zoom. It sort of kind of it's
Kind
not-
of worked.
it worked, but it's like I said, I have my mind on something different, the way we're going to do these phone calls. And if basically what happens, if we would do it through Zoom, Ron, if you would call in right now, you would have to enter in about 16 numbers. And I don't want you to have to do that.
Yeah.
That's where I have my problem. And that's where the problem is. And that's where the feet dragging of the feet is happening at the moment. I don't want you to have to call in and then enter 11 numbers and then enter 5 more numbers. And we could totally do that. We could have you call in today, but that's not what I want to do. And by using Zoom, we're kind of put in that position. And so we are looking at the options. Mike was in over the weekend. We were messing around with the phone calls. Derpy and I, 4:00 in the morning on Sunday. I kid you not. I'm on the computer messing with this, getting a hold of the guys. They're probably ready to strangle me. But that's where we are. The phone calls will be coming real soon. I promise you. We didn't. It's still in the works. I just don't want you to have to dial 20 numbers. That's not cool.
Yeah, we want to make it as easy as possible for
It's
everyone
not
calling
cool.
in. Yeah.
And what we have now, the regular phone number, if you call in, it's heard 3 ways, and you can't hear things at a certain. Listen, it's in the works. It will be here soon. I promise you. We are coming up on our 500th episode on Monday, so we are looking to do big things and make some changes. And hopefully, everybody is on board, and we'll have fun, and we'll be excited to experience these things with us. But that is in the works, Ron. I swear to you, we were working on it hard, and I don't want it to come back on you guys.
Yeah.
As being something like a pain in the ass. That's the last thing I want to do. So we'll certainly keep you posted. We do appreciate you so much. We thank you. for on the supers here. I think everybody on this board is amazing.
Yes.
As always. Ron, thank you. But it is coming. I promise you. It is coming. Guys, are you ready to jump into the trivia for the day?
I am ready.
This is a Super Bowl trivia. This week it will be all Super Bowl questions because we are leading into the Super Bowl. So here we go. Derpy, are you ready?
Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Derpy.
Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring, guys? Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring? Think that over for a minute. If you need choices, I'll give you choices. But we are live, everybody. We're live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you can't catch the show or you just rather listen to the show, the brand new show that we do every day live gets uploaded over on Spotify in podcast form at 8 o'clock p.m. over on Spotify every single day during the week. So if you do want to just listen to the show, maybe you only have a chance to listen to the show, go to Spotify after 8 every day, catch the brand new show in podcast. All right, let's get back to this question, guys.
All right.
Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring? Ralph on the board says Kenny Stabler. Interesting.
Ooh.
Oh, and Ron Navy also says Stabler. Do either one of you gentlemen on the panel need choices?
Well, I'm gonna stick with my guns. I was gonna say Steve Young, so I'm sticking with my guns.
Derpy, do you need choices or you want to take a guess as well?
Choices.
All right, so a couple Stablers on the board. Might go Steve Young. Here we go. Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring? Your choices are A, Kenny Stabler, B, Dougie Williams, C, Steve Young, or D, Michael Vick, guys. Derpy, the first left-handed QB to get a ring. Kenny Stabler, Doug Williams, Steve Young, Mike Vick. Who do you think?
I'm going to go Stabler.
Kenny Stabler as well. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Mike, you want to stick with Steve Young?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Steve Young because I never knew Ken Stabler was a lefty. I was going back through quarterbacks. Damn it.
All right.
Mad at
Everybody's
myself.
locked into place, guys. Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring? Kenny Stabler, Doug Williams, Steve Young, or Mike Vick? The answer, guys, is Kenny Stabler. Kenny Stabler. Of course, Doug Williams was the first black quarterback. He was not left-handed. Steve Young was a left-handed quarterback, but didn't get it till the 90s. And Mike Vick had never, ever got his Super Bowl ring. Kenny Stabler is the answer.
Kenny.
We do want to say thank you to everybody for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you, as always.
Yes,
we wouldn't do it without you. Everybody on the board always keeps it super interesting. We thank you as well. Mike, do you got anything before we start getting ready to take off, man?
Yeah, the Steelers wide receiver coach has been let go. Frisman Jackson, he's been the receivers coach the past few years. He has been let go. So we need a new wide receivers coach. We need a new strength coach. We need a new assistant coach. The coaching staff changes are still happening for the Steelers.
All right. Derpy, anything before we get ready to go?
Yes.
Derpy.
On this date,
Please
in
enlighten me.
2006,
Yes.
we got one for the thumb.
Was it the 5th or was it the 6th?
It was the 5th.
It was the 5th? Okay. You would text me that earlier, and I thought for some reason it seemed like it was the 6th to me, but maybe that I don't know why I thought that. But yes, this day, how many years ago, Derpy?
19, I think now.
Yeah, on this day, it was Hines Ward and Randall making the throw to Hines Ward and Willie Parker 75-yard touchdown run. First play out of the gate in the second half.
That was great.
Big Ben just sneaking into the end zone, barely getting the nose of the ball to touch the plane.
Troy volunteered to go up over the top if Ben couldn't make it in on third down.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what was the score of that game?
God.
21-10.
21-10.
21-10. I knew it was a low scoring game.
Yeah. It was a fun one, though, because that was, when I was still shitting myself when they were winning their last Super Bowls in the 70s. I mean, I was shitting myself for different reasons this Super Bowl, but, that was the first Super Bowl I got to enjoy, the first Super Bowl I got to enjoy them winning. I when I was in high school. They lost to the Cowboys. So that Super Bowl is very special to me. Super Bowl 40, XL in Ford Field, Jerome Bettis, the whole thing, very special Super Bowl. But yeah,
I was yeah, because when they won the last one in 80, I was only like a few days old.
Derpy was probably still in his diapers back then, Ron.
I was.
You're really, really close.
Yeah, wasn't too far off.
I think I was 9.
9 in the Super Bowl. In Super
Okay.
Bowl 40.
Derpy's trying to do math.
Oh man, we got to get
It's
going.
like me
9
trying
or
to do
10.
math. I think we got to end the show.
Got to end on that.
Yeah, I'm
note.
trying to do math. Yep.
But hey, I do want to say thanks everybody for coming, hanging out with us one more time. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Same time, same place. Mike, Derpy, speak now, forever hold your peace.
I got nothing.
Derpy,
Great show, everyone.
I was gonna sing a AI parody, but I think I'll save that for the weekend.
you're gonna save it for the weekend. We also have other things going on leading up to the weekend. Of course, we talked last week about putting Derpy up against Mike's 5-year-old for some picks and trivia kind of things.
Yep.
We are going to do that as the week goes on. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune in.
Using my child as a prop.
Sorry, is Derpy smarter than a 5-year-old? So we're going to have a lot of fun with that, guys. But all right, that's everything for you guys.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right. So for Mike from the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, Derpy, myself in the Two Dum Yinzers, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See ya.
See you.